You're good.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the tasting menu, which might end up just turning into a Glitter Heart show. We'll find out. So the original plan was to be actually playing the game tonight. That's not going to happen. um, so what happened in the last couple of weeks since we played our first planning session is that I kind of sat down with the notes and everything that we had taken and was looking through how to GM this game. And I noticed that the game kept telling you challenge their friendships, really like focus in on the friendships of these characters. And I realized I felt like I didn't really know these characters' relationships and their friendships. We had kind of done, the base work of establishing characters, and then in the following time, I had kind of fleshed out a little bit of more of a setting for us, but I didn't really feel like I understood the relationship between these characters. Definitely not enough to challenge it in any meaningful way. So we were kind of talking. I came up with some kind of questions for the characters to flesh them out a little bit more and try and understand these relationships with characters a little bit more. By mostly kind of looking at Masks, which is another similar game, more centered on a superhero angle rather than a magical person's angle. But kind of took some direction from the character building from Masks, because when we played it here on the stream, I really liked the character building and that a lot. I liked the questions that it asks during character building. I think it makes you think about your character not only as an individual, but as a part of a team a lot. So I kind of took and tweaked some of those questions for the characters. But a lot of them are very collaborative. So we kind of decided, hey, maybe this is worth another planning session. So that's where we are tonight. We're going to do another planning session. Deal with it, nerds. So to kind of recap where we left off last time. So the last time that you all joined us, we established that the characters were going to be working at a library. They were going to be junior librarians. We established everyday identities for each of the characters. We established magical archetypes for each of the characters, and then kind of where they draw their power from, as well as a few other things about the characters. So from that, I kind of took the setting a little bit and ran with it. So now I'll just go ahead and read, I guess, what I wrote about the setting that we're in. So the junior librarians are going to be in a library that is called the Museum. Which is the original Great Library of Alexandria, which is named after the Muses. That is a real life thing.
Real life thing. That blew my mind.
Yeah. Because I was thinking, what library would be cool to be like a librarian in? And so I did some research on the Great Library of Alexandria and learned a lot of really neat stuff. Wikipedia had some good shit in there. Anyway, so in this version, the original contributors to the museum believed in sharing their knowledge with future generations, but feared themselves an easy target as scholars. The Muses heard the contributors' pleas and created a time rift where they could keep the museum safe, yet share their knowledge and acquire more throughout time. They also tasked the contributors with seeking out mighty warriors to protect their knowledge, warriors whose connection to books was the strongest and purest throughout time. These warriors were to be granted jobs within the museum, and when they proved themselves worthy, they were to be given magical stamps, which were infused with the power of the muses. These stamps granted them the ability to wield the power of books they had the strongest connection to. Together, they would defend the museum and keep the power of the world's knowledge safe from those that would seek to destroy it or use it for nefarious purposes. These warriors became known as the junior librarians. So nobody knows what has become of the original contributors to the museum, but now their legacy lives on in you, mighty junior librarians. When the museum opens to a point in time, it can manifest anywhere in the world. It is in both every time and every place at once. Where it opens up to are called branches, and these kind of act as like an entryway or a foyer to the larger museum for that point in time. These branches kind of overlap and work basically so that you can have only like 3 or 4 employees, but still take care of every place and time as needed. It's magic. It makes sense. Probably.
That would differ logic.
Yeah. So it will also like shift in appearance as needed. So like if somebody's in a branch from the 90s, they won't look like children out of the Victorian era or wherever they're from. They'll look like a kid in the 90s or whatever. So it's magic. It works however we need it to. And you can also access different branches, go anywhere basically via the power of books, because they can transport you to different worlds and places and times and things. So yeah, that's kind of, and then we've got some NPCs also. So I decided that, last time we decided that our like guiding familiar was going to be a library cat. So I named him Dimitri. He looks pretty much like a normal, like very fluffy, hairy cat, except for he wears teeny tiny spectacles. And when he's in the sunlight, he glows kind of golden and gives off a lot of particle effects. Very cool. And then there are some mysterious twins that also work at the museum. Their names are Teo and Tia. They work in the 90s branch, are very attractive, but are not junior librarians and don't appear to have any magical powers that you all can tell. There's Artie, the head librarian. You don't really know much about him because Dimitri is the only one who has met him or seen him for a long time, and he doesn't really talk about him. And then there is a mysterious figure that sometimes shows up when you are on missions called incognito formal wear. He's the tuxedo mask of
Wait,
this.
what?
What? That went right by me. Also incognito.
Dimitri has already dead in a closet somewhere. Typical cat.
Oh. So that's kind of what I have come up with. So I didn't know if you guys wanted to kind of go through the questions that I had posed to you and give your answer if you had one, or kind of maybe talk through finding an answer if you don't have one written down yet, or how we wanted to go about it.
Yeah, I still have a lot of question marks because I'm stuck between 2 points. So I would appreciate any and all discussion because, yeah. Also, my genre is a god's damn nightmare. It's not a genre, it's a mood. Gulliver's Travel came out like 300 years previous to Mary Poppins. So it's a really tough way to be like, that.
For sure. So maybe first what we can do is kind of go around the horn and just do like the brief introduction of your character. like the basic stuff, like your book genre, the color that you all decided on, those kind of the things that we had kind of established last time, and then we'll get into the backstory questions. Kind of work through those.
I think a lot of that was developed in the chat afterwards. I think the color talk got settled pretty well in chat, not in on the stream.
Yeah. Well, you can say what your librarian color will be. That'll be a new tidbit. So let's start with Andy, because you're the first on my screen. So
I'm not the first in the document.
well, deal with it.
Okay.
I'm the GM now. You have bend to my will.
Yikes!
Oh, boy.
Power's going to her head.
Hey everybody, if we just say no, she can't stop us. Cece, if you could just turn your head for a second. Okay. So, as established last time, I will be doing mystery books, detective novels especially. But also, like Marty said, mine is not quite that range, but it's, Sherlock Holmes to Agatha Christie. So, Victorian era to World War II and post World War II. And there is still modern detective and Veronica Mars. Look, it's ranging a big window. Yeah. But so mystery books, I'm blue because I'm the smart one. Even though I'm not I have a mental of +1. I mean, it's good, but let's see. My blood type is O negative. I'm the aloof and the tactician. That's my everyday is the aloof. Magical archetype's the tactician. And my mystical connection is sadness, because there's an element of sadness to all mystery books. Something bad has happened. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then which questions do you want me to go through?
Not anyone yet, because let's introduce Marty and Liz before we get into that. So Marty, you're next up on my screen, so let's have you go first.
Okay.
Or second, whatever number we're on.
Whichever number we're on. Yeah, I will be Red. My normal name, what do they call it? My everyday name is Marianne. And yeah, my genre. Oh, I'm Red because I'm the leader. I think, is that right? I'm the. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and my book type is what I say: mostly lead Edwardian, absurd British whimsy.
That like, very narrow genre.
Very narrow genre. Again, Gulliver's Travels to P.L. Travers is 300 years or so. But yeah, Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, Wind in the Willows, Gulliver's Travels, Winnie the Pooh, Roald Dahl, that kind of like C.S. Lewis was kind of last gasps of industrialization, kind of mowing over things and then kind of grasping at these bits of absurd whimsy that the Brits did. And yeah, I'm either the youngest or I will not be the youngest because Liz has carved that out, and I respect that space. So I might be the oldest, or I might be ridiculously young, and that's going to be funny because she'll be bossy. So.
All right, excellent. And then Liz, your character.
Hi, I'm going to be playing Sid the Kid DiMaggio. And his sort of genre is like, I guess, boys' adventures, adventure comics, that kind of thing. Like sort of your I think I'm going to be like the longest one, because basically mine is going to be like, I would think either like Huck Finn or Treasure Island to nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, he's just gonna. If it's like a kid who's having fun on his own, that's Sid's domain.
Excellent.
Perfect.
My color is yellow because I'm the heart of the group. My everyday identity is the boxer because he's a kid. He's a little kid who's gonna get into scrapes and all that. Then I'm also the warrior, and my mystical connection is trust, because it's like you gotta trust everything's gonna be all right, and Everything's just A-okay.
Everything's gonna work out.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. All right. So, first, let's go through some backstory questions. So all of these questions are the same for everyone. So let's walk through them. If you've got an answer for it, great. If you want some help from your fellow players and me to answer it, then that's also great. So the first question that I had is, who are you outside of the museum? So you want to think about your everyday identity and how it manifests in your everyday life. So let's go in that same order. So let's start with Andy.
Okay.
What answer do you have?
I don't think I said my name last time, so let me... her name is Evelyn, Ev, you can call her Evelyn or Ev, Clarissa Ignatius. And who she is outside the library is very like 2006 to 2008, because that's my frame of reference for it, or even a little bit before that, because that's when I was in high school. A little before then, I graduated in 2006. So like Avril Lavigne, skater girly, kind of pop punk. Aloof, cynical. I watched several Avril Lavigne music videos in preparation for this, and they're just, a lot of them are just mean. She's just doing mean things to people for no reason, and I think that was the attitude. So it's kind of pointless, totally pointless pranks. Like knocking over the guy giving out samples in a hot dog costume at the mall. Like, he did nothing to you. What are you doing? It's just mean. He provided you
Avril.
with a hot dog.
Yeah.
So she's just going to be a real shithead, probably. But aloof, cynical, unpopular, and she had few friends before her fellow junior librarians. And even then, it would probably be hard to tell that they are actually her friends. But they are, and they mean a lot to her. So it's just going to take her a while to open up. It's going to be a whole 15-season arc or 2 episodes after we get canceled. Because we don't have enough toy sales or something.
Oh, all right. Very, very good. All right. So then same question to Marty. Who are you outside of the museum?
Yeah, I feel relatively solid on this part because I just have to be some boring country gentry's daughter, right? Like, I mean, they've got a big swath of land and a weird neighbor who comes over and writes stories about me in ways that are almost certainly inappropriate, and history will try and ignore it. So that's certainly who I was, because I still have some questions around that idea. But yeah, when I was selected to be this librarian, yeah, I would just go out by the little pond in our back and sit on some kind of marble little bench and probably read all the time. And make friends with all the fairies, bunnies that wore glasses and top hats and were asking me the time all the time, and just eventually that's what coaxed me to a second location, and now I'm in this library.
Never follow the scarecrow to a second location.
Yeah, it's a real problem.
Don't follow the glowing cat to a second location.
So I've probably been a junior librarian the longest, which is part of why I'm the leader. And so I probably have the most sense of the museum here as well.
All right. That sounds awesome. Okay, and then same question to Liz. Who is Sid the Kid outside of the museum?
He's a little street tough from like the Depression era.
Mm-hmm.
He works at a newsstand. He's like
I had one wish, and I was like, make it a newsie, Liz. Very good.
And he's just doing what he can to survive. He's, recycling paper for the war. He's recycling tin. He's doing all the good stuff like he can.
So this is like his 5th job.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Life is Sid's job.
Because he lives in an interdimensional life. I mean, he knows the Allies win the war, I guess. That's good. Or maybe he doesn't. I won't look it up.
Not
That's
interested.
Cheating. 100%
Oh my
is
god.
Sid.
No
You're right.
cheating. No cheating.
Oh gosh.
Awesome.
Okay. So the next question that I had then was, what does the branch you entered from look like? So this is just kind of basically giving me a better idea of like the time that you would like to have been. And what, just kind of getting you thinking about like, what would a library in that time kind of look like? So yeah, let's start with Andy.
Well, might not be helpful, and you can tell me no then. Because I said in an abandoned library. But I do feel like that kind of fits like the modern era of like we don't really build that many libraries anymore, which is a shame because they're great. The Library by Me is my favorite.
I think that an abandoned library could totally work.
And also, if somebody dared me to do it, that person was me.
Challenge accepted.
You won't do that? Of course I will. I almost had it the one that was about to be demolished, and then I realized, well, I can't go in and out then, so that's not useful.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so if that's cool with you.
Yeah, I'm down with it being the abandoned library. I think that fits your character very well.
But yeah, because otherwise I will just base it on the Library by Me, which was built around that time, and it's nice.
It just has to be the place that you enter from too, and even then, if you decide like, hey, I want my character to live at the library, then you don't even have to have it like necessarily be like place that wouldn't look suspicious you going in all the time, I guess. But you're also kind of like this aloof girl that doesn't really have like many friends and stuff, and so she probably would hang out at like
skateboard.
Like tell her parents that she's got like a library job, and then she just goes and hangs out at the abandoned library.
Brother's like,
I like that.
Yeah, no, I'm down. That is exactly what I want. So,
all right, we're here to facilitate. All right. So then, same question to Marty. Then, what does the branch you entered from look like?
Yeah, I don't think there was a lot of free libraries when I was a girl, which is what I am now.
Ben Franklin invented the first free library, I think.
Is that true?
I think it is.
So I was noodling over the boring country gentry thing, and I realized that the perfect position for that would then be I would be my professor's daughter. So I've probably entered through some university's library, which would be well stocked beyond what a little country library would be, which is these are the 4 books that we've all collectively bought in the last 20 years, and you can take one, but you do have to return it. And 1 farmer's almanac. So I think yes, it was probably a library associated with the university, or otherwise like sponsored in my family's name kind of thing. I'm just kind of like, oh, this is our family library, and you all can have it, you proles. But I think I like the idea of being kind of the professor's daughter because that lines up with Lewis Carroll and a few of the other daughters and sons that were creeped on by weirdos next door. Not into it, J.M. Barrie. So I'm going to put down University Library. And again, like a big stone and mortar place. Old school academia kind of university.
Lots of marble floors and echoing of footsteps off of walls kind of thing.
Yeah. Something that really drives home that you are a different class than other people.
Really makes certain people feel like they're not supposed to be there.
That's right. That's apparent upon entry. Thank you very much.
If you feel weird and like you shouldn't be there, you probably shouldn't.
Yeah. And again, presuming that we kind of like we summer in the country, or that's where we reside, it's probably might need to be closer to a population center to be where we went into. But like, Dad took me to work, and then I got lost in this library, and again followed a magic cat somewhere because that seems pretty on brand. It's wearing glasses. It must be trustworthy.
Sorry. Ben Franklin didn't invent a public. He invented a subscription library, which is lame.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, the first.
Yeah, but that is he did found the first American library, though.
Yeah, but it's just you had to be a member to go. Which I mean, we're all still members, but
that is how everything was done then.
Yeah.
Oh man,
the past was the worst.
Yeah. That's really what we're learning. The past is awful. All right. So then, Liz, same question. What does the branch you entered look like?
I think it looks like a very Art Deco. It was sort of just renovated, and then I guess the Depression happened.
Oh no!
I'm glad we spent all that money on that goddamn library.
Stone lions are expensive, Davey.
It was like either that, or it's like it was one of the like New Deal projects that were like, well, we got to do something.
Totally.
Got to put people to work. Better fix up that library.
Oh.
Yeah, both of those are very appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, cool. A very chic Art Deco building. Awesome. Okay. So then the next question, kind of along these same lines, do you live in the library or do you have a common that you go back to? So there is space for you to live in the library if you so choose. If not, if you want to go home at the end of the day and live your everyday life outside of the library, that is possible. So we'll start with Andy.
Yeah. So hold on, let me find it. I do think I have a house where I have a mom, a dad, and a brother. What did I say there? Yeah. So fairly normal suburban, because I have to be from the suburbs. Suburban life. Although, okay, well, this just popped into my head. Are we doing it? So, are we going to do it anime style, where they'll just retrofit American like locations and descriptions onto things? So it'll be like, you know, like say the kid's like from New York City, and they pan. It's like clearly not New York City. And it's just like, this is obviously Tokyo.
Kyoto.
Yeah. Yeah, and
her original accent's really stodgy. It's actually an old timey. It's really weird that you made it this. Okay.
I'm good either way. I was just wondering, like, what the feel.
That is fucking hilarious to me.
Yeah,
do that, but...
I love that.
So I'm from some, you know, like Studio Ghibli, perfect little suburbs. You know, everything's all fenced or I always picture Japanese suburbs as having like stone walls everywhere. I don't know why. Like, but.
Depends
probably
on
because of Studio Ghibli movies, but
on how uphill your town is.
Yeah, yeah, always
retaining walls you need.
So you know something from the beginning of Kiki's Delivery Service or something. But yeah, where mother's a literature professor, father's a true crime novelist, and it's probably one of those things where you never see their faces; they're always behind newspapers. And then an older brother named Joe. It's just yes, be home.
Is Joe the worst?
Joe is the worst. He was popular and he likes to rub it in, but also he has no life because he wants to just catch me doing shit. It's like, you have friends, go be with them. What are you doing?
Is it like captain of the football team?
Yeah. God, you're so lame. Stop embarrassing me just by existing.
He has nothing better to do than to chase around his 16-year-old sister to bust her. That is so. But that is something that I had not considered. We don't have a character that is trying to bust us constantly so far. So I love that it's a waste of your older brother's time to do this.
Total waste of his time. He could be kissing someone, playing a football.
For example.
Just anything that's better than this.
Something associated with a ball he could be doing at a performative level.
Going to the mall, talking to someone about his feelings. Just anything.
Driving himself places.
Right? Going to get himself delicious takeout.
He can afford his own Orange Julius. That's too late. Stupid movie. Stupid.
It's the last remaining Orange Julius in Japan.
It's clearly a ramen shop.
Yeah. Yes! Oh, yes!
Just called Orange Julius.
That's where you get your jelly donuts.
Yeah, jelly donuts. I was just about to say, they're obviously rice balls. Jelly donuts are triangle with a piece of seaweed on the outside. They're fooling no one. Brock.
I mean, they do kind of have a jelly-looking filling.
The filling is the closest they get. Everything else,
I guarantee
It's not jelly, though. It's most certainly something pickled.
yeah, pickled.
Oh, there you go.
Pickled herring or something.
Pickled plum is usually what it looks like
Sure.
in a lot of anime. But yeah, pick your variety of pickled vegetable and or fish, probably. Oh, all right. Cool. So then, Marty, same question. Do you live in the library, or do you have a home that you go back to?
Yeah, especially if the other two are going to have a home they go back to. I am leaning more just tonally, and I think I can make a lot of story sense out of. No, I live in the library. I stay here. That can be tragic. Something terrible, World War I related or something happened to my family. I'm really hot on this idea ever since you said it, Andy. The idea that Marianne chooses to stay, which is something that like Wendy and Alice never do. The moral ending to those stories is like, no, I have to go home, back to my normal boring life, because who would possibly want to fly around with a bunch of tree boys fighting pirates all the time? So I think the idea of choosing to stay because it's better than home is just a great bold story choice, because it really does reflect well off of kind of what I'm aiming for. Mm-hmm. And so I think I've been really excited about that ever since. So I think I want to try it. Then again, there is something very delightful about having to go home to my boring, shitty, like country estate. But then I can't get to my library all the time. So I think that was another thing. Like I just wanted to live in the library so much that I just never went back. That
and
my actual life wasn't challenging because it did not expect a lot of a young lady in my my day.
And to bounce off that, if this helps with your age question, if you were like 17 and you're like, I don't want to go back because all I'm going to do is get married and never see outside again. And
I think that solves for my remaining problem, Andy. Thank you. Because yes, I think that's it. I've been coming here since 13 or whatever. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And now the idea is like, well, but there's less and less for me here. Like, so now that I'm 16, 17, or 16 going on 17, older and more mature. Anyway.
He's a Nazi. Dump him.
Within that song, he tells me he just straight up knows better than me because he's a boy. So you know what? There's a lot of toxic signs, and I need to get out of here. So yeah, I think over time, like again, I've been doing this the longest, and eventually I just stopped going back because I felt more comfortable with ridiculous nonsense animals and things that talk, because this has been most of my coming of age at this point. If it's not a dodo bird explaining new math to me, I don't understand it. I have less and less in common with the country boys. So, yeah, I think that's it. I think I live in the library, but it is something I've come to do as there was less and less prospects for me that wasn't marrying boys.
Yeah, and so maybe that would also help, like, if perhaps one of your fellow librarians was struggling with that, like, coming here at a certain time of day or whatever, and then to go back home and stuff, then you could relate to them or guide them in some sort of way.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
so this might be a question for Cece more than Marty, but if Marianne has been coming here for 4 years, was she part of a different junior librarian team before Sid and I?
Maybe that's something we'll discover today. Maybe that's something we'll discover and play. Oh.
I'm ready to move my chips to yes, because that's fucking rad, Andy. But yeah, but we can discuss it. Discuss it.
Maybe you weren't always red.
You stole it right out from under me.
Oh, sorry.
We found your genre, Andy. That's what we discovered today.
I will play this forever. That's fine.
Maybe Incognito Tuxedo has been here the whole time. Or no, sorry, Incognito Formal Wear.
Yeah,
it's intellectually distinct. Tuxedo Mask has a rose.
He has a red rose. Incognito Formal Wear has a purple rose. Get it right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think the twins are doing some Dragon Ball Z fusion back there, but that's fine.
Don't worry about it.
I mean, I don't know who they are. It's
It
total
couldn't possibly
mystery.
be them.
No, they're boring. And they're from the 90s.
They don't have magic.
Everyone knows the 90s are the least magical decade.
Now you're attacking my people, and I don't appreciate it.
Oh. All right. So then, Liz, same question. Do you live in the museum or do you to?
I was sort of half and half on that. Because I was thinking that he does have, like, Sid does have an outside life. Like, he is really invested in the war effort. It's like, he will really love to see his home country win. But I think he's also really into sort of, like I said, he's a boy's adventure kid. So him going off, living on his own in this weird library, just having magical adventures makes total sense.
I kind of almost see it as like Sid is kind of almost like the opposite in that, like, he has like these 5 other jobs that he's got to go off and do, like, during the like early morning hours, and then like later on at night he comes back. This is, you know, the 6th job he's doing today, and then he also just happens to live here now.
Yeah, because I was thinking he would have, like, he might not have a lot of family. Like, if he does, it's like an uncle he sort of doesn't get along with, that he very much runs away from.
It's a real Billy Batson situation. You're painting a real Billy Batson situation right now.
But I was also like, yeah, he has like 6 jobs. How else do you spend the day without the internet?
Yeah. It's saving nickels to buy adventure books.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I think that's totally doable. Like, I think that sounds great. So yeah, so you do live there, but then you also go out and do your 10 other jobs that you've got to do. The number is going to keep going up.
Yeah. Just make a new one every time we do this. It's like, oh yeah, I also started like a lemonade business. I'm like, when do you have time to do this, Sid?
Are you okay?
If I miss a stream, it's like he went off to have his own like boy's own adventure. And it's like, where were you, Sid? I'm like, oh, I was stuck on a desert island for like a couple of weeks with like this drunk pilot and a salty sea captain.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
The important thing is, those pirates won't be bothering us anymore.
What pirates? Who was bothering us?
Told the story in the reverse order.
Oh, I love it. All right. So, then the next question that we have for everyone is, does your everyday life ever impact your duties as a junior librarian? Which I feel like we kind of covered a little bit, but if we want to go into deeper detail here. So I said, for example, do you have any suspicious friends or family? Any obligations that are being interrupted? You know, your classic secret identity conundrum kind of stuff. So let's start with Andy again.
Yeah, as I kind of mentioned before, I think my older brother is very suspicious. Has noticed some odd coincidences. There we go. Between his previously unpopular do-nothing sister and now, where she seems to have at least 2 friends and is doing things. But I don't think I had a job, or maybe I was in a club after school that I stopped going to, like photography or skateboards or something.
Skateboard club membership 1.
President and treasurer.
Let's take roll. Yeah, I'm here. All right.
Score. We're gonna do some kickflips in the parking lot. With my physical of -1. I have not quite considered how that affects me yet.
And then I'm going to dare myself to go into a library.
Motion passed.
You won't do it. Shut up. Oh, wonderful.
Oh, gosh. All right. So then, same question for Marty. Does your everyday life impact your duties?
Yeah.
Or maybe it did more in the past and now it isn't much.
Yes, that it not anymore. But it certainly did in the past, which was probably part of what convinced her to commit one way or the other. You know, it was being torn between going off and being boring forever, or continuing to solve book crimes with a spectacled cat and her best friends. But was that a different set of best friends, and what fate befell them? I'm advancing that and that I may not have always been the red one. I think both of those are meaty. I am interested in that. Even if it never comes up on a goddamn game, I'm gonna know it. And you guys are gonna know I know it. So I'll bore you about it after the stream.
As before, with we were talking about Glitter Force, this is the first American version of this show, but it's had like 15 seasons before this.
Yeah.
And you're a legacy character.
Yeah. This is Battle of Force, Shoujo Tojo or whatever. I'm from Tosha Shoujo Alpha. And I was the yellow one there.
That makes sense.
I was all pigtails and ridiculous then. You should have seen me.
Oh, excellent. So then, same question, Liz / Sid. Does your everyday life impact or is impacted by your duties?
I don't think so. I think Sid's a very much a go-getter, so he has like everything scheduled out. It's like Mondays is for recycling, and then Tuesdays and Wednesdays I work at the newspaper stand, and then Thursdays and Fridays is you have the lemonade stand, and then Saturdays Saturday is collecting tin, and then Sunday is the Lord's Day, so you rest on that day.
You're due.
Yep.
Oh,
Good
great.
enough for God, it's good enough for Sid, you know what I mean?
Oh, so yeah, so Sid's a super planner and has it all together.
Yeah, it's like
Awesome.
there are 24 hours in a day. You gotta plan everything out.
Hey,
Yeah.
He's maximizing life. He's min-maxing life.
Min-maxing life. Yep.
Oh, all right. Great. Okay. So then the next question. So you have a strong connection with your book genre. That's why you were chosen to be a junior librarian. So how have these books affected or inspired you in your everyday life before becoming a junior librarian? And then what makes your connection to them so strong? So let's start with Andy again.
So I think the big one would probably be because she was this aloof, kind of unpopular person. So often are detectives in books. They either have a partner who is obviously less talented than them, that is only there to talk out loud, so it's not all a thought bubble. Or they literally do it. They're always right. They do it alone, and nobody else likes them, which is more noir-y. But, Sam Spade, Philip Marlowe. But Poirot, Sherlock, Nancy Drew, Veronica Mars, they just get it done by themselves, and she probably identifies with that as an aloof person who thinks she is smarter than everyone. And then also, I kind of have a thing about just injustice and selfish and cruelty, but I don't know how, because also she would probably be selfish and cruel to some degree, as are many of those detectives. Not cruel necessarily, but selfish. But the idea that crime is inherently for the most part, is inherently selfish. I don't want to say, obviously people have reasons for doing crimes, but
well, and it's always the people getting their just desserts deserve it.
Right.
It's just now it's deserve it according to a 16-year-old girl who just landed her first kickflip last night. So I'll have you know, I think it's really screwed up that you took the last chocolate milk when Larry likes the last chocolate milk and he was 3 people behind you in class. Just saying. I think that's messed up.
And then I dump his tray.
Justice. Doesn't feel like justice. You just wasted a bunch of food.
I feel like nobody's happy now. Sometimes justice means nobody's happy. If you need me, I'll be doing kickflips in the parking lot.
Skateboard club.
Oh. Late for skateboard club. Population me.
Made t-shirts for myself.
On the back, it's just President Evelyn, Vice President Evelyn. So yeah, that's kind of where my head's at right now.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I was kind of wondering if it was kind of was she attracted to it because the characters spoke to her, reminded her of herself, or did she start modeling herself kind of like after these characters that she was reading so much about?
I think it's probably the former, but but also it's a little bit of both. I think she probably started reading those books because she just liked them, and then a little bit, well, I don't have any friends, just like Sherlock Holmes, ignoring his one best friend who's actually like a good person and is nice. Like, just like Nancy Drew ignoring her dad and her boyfriend, and just like Poirot, except for the Colonel. Sometimes she has to make a lot of justifications in her head, but it works. She's a teenager. She's not fully done yet.
George.
It's not fully done yet.
But I do think she might have that, and not quite black and white, because even Poirot or even Agatha Christie occasionally is just like, well, the guy who got killed deserved it or whatever, so everyone gets away with it. It's rare, but it happens in those books. So I think probably her sense of justice is molded by those books more than her personality. Okay.
All right.
But as Marty said, most of the time they get their just desserts.
Yeah. Well, and the quietly smug person also gets to be right all the time. That's very appealing to
a teenager. Oh, for sure.
Oh, all right. So then, yeah, same question to Marty.
Yeah, now that we've gone for a couple of my bigger question marks, a lot of these are falling into place a lot faster, which is part of what I wanted from this. So I'm glad for it. But yet, this genre, if we'll call it this, mostly late Edwardian absurd British whimsy, but yet it enlivened her imagination. It gave her complex thoughts. It taught her of the absurdity of politics and even country life. If you live like Wind in the Willows and whatever, it's very much about the absurdity of British life. So many of these things come back to the absurdity of everyday mundanity that it made it laughable for her to like do things like get married or do like normal things. So that itself made her unmarriable. And also, there wasn't a lot of female protagonists at the time that weren't about their date ability. So I think that kind of very much what connected her to it. It both inspired her upward and also kind of like connected her to it of like, yeah, I don't want any of this. And it's nonsense that we do this. We have another person living in our house who cleans our house. That's weird. They're not related to us. And yet we just kind of pretend that's normal. So, yeah, I think the connection to it was this kind of like the mundanity and the banalness of all of it that helped her break out of that shell. And then she couldn't see anything but absurdity after that. And that's part of why she's like, fuck this. I'm going to go be a magical librarian girl with a talking cat and my best friend.
Where life makes sense.
Where life makes some sense. Good Lord.
Marriage nonsense. Magical libraries that can go through time and space.
Yeah.
Perfect sense.
I'm better than you because my dad owns a house. Doesn't really hold up. This magical cat sends me on missions to fight knights that are made out of origami pages. Obviously. As God intended.
It's like we're speaking two different languages here.
It's like I'm trying to meet you in the middle, actually, if you believe that. That's what this is. So
can I bring the talking cat?
Yeah, I think that's that lane.
All right. All right. And then same question, Liz. How about your connection with your book genre?
I think Sid is literally just like a adventure comics protagonist. Like,
yeah,
he's basically like Huck Finn or who's the kid from Treasure Island? Jim Hawkins, or just like any of the, gee willikers, let's go do this incredibly dangerous thing because no adult's gonna do it and somebody's gotta help. Like Tintin.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Does Sid recognize that in himself? Just sort of living this adventure comics life and doesn't really recognize that he is also kind of like a protagonist?
I don't think so. I think he's just like, no, there's something afoot and someone's gotta do it.
So why not me?
Yeah. It's like, I'm here.
I can do it.
There are no boring days in Sid's life. There's no day that hasn't started out with 2 pennies, a stick, and a hole in my pocket that hasn't led to adventure. That's how I painted a fence and defeated the Rat King.
Wait, second part. What was that second part?
Don't worry about it. That's what
It's the Rat King of New York.
Oh, all right, cool. Okay, so then the next question is about your good cat friend Dimitri. How did Dimitri approach you, and what convinced you to become a junior librarian? Did he have the help of one or more of the other junior librarians? So let's start with Andy.
This is one I was having a hard time with. And I almost, because Marianne is the oldest, I almost want to ask Marianne first. if I can juke this.
No, I accept that
Briefly.
because the latter half of this question, I think, will make more sense if I go first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on day trips with my father to the university, or my father and mother, perhaps, because she either was going out to socialite with the other professorial mothers, or might have been educated herself, but scandal. So she was probably French. It was fun. But yeah, it's how I was first approached. And again, I literally followed some cat between a stack of books and went to some place where it was just kind of like, oh, of course, I've been so many people since this morning. This makes perfect fucking sense to me at this point. There was an owl earlier trying to convince me of, I don't know, Nietzschean principle or something, and it's fine. So, and again, I'm going to start slowly advancing this idea that I was a junior member of a previous junior librarians, where we either met some calamity or they disbanded because they got too old or what have you. We can decide on the calamities at the heart of that later. But so I think I was more a tool to recruit Sid and Evelyn than I was. So, and whether or not the previous Red, for instance, might have been helpful in like bringing me in, of just kind of like, here, go on adventures with us. Because the more and more that this story starts to develop, the more and more I think I have real imposter syndrome about being the red one, and I overcompensate by being like super scrutiny of whether or not Evelyn is giving enough. And I think that will start to shape our competition part of, now that I'm the red, I have to be this like weird Wendy Darling mom character sometimes, and that will be how it expresses itself. So I think Dimitri, I literally just followed a cat in glasses to a second location. I was then convinced perhaps to continue or inspired by my sisterin back in the day. And then so now consider it my duty to inspire this next generation. I'm just not very good at it. I'm not really cracking this Evelyn girl. She keeps kick flipping away, and I don't know what that is. And at this point, I'm embarrassed to ask.
It's not clear because she's not good at skateboarding, it turns out.
She keeps holding up a finger and calling it a bird, and it doesn't even look like a bird. And again, I'm embarrassed to ask.
This is just emblematic of her. She could try harder. She could make it look like a bird.
Even a girl in a skirt would make sense. Is that what it is? No.
Maybe it's different if it's like a puppet show. Does it look like a bird then?
Dimitri, you're the only one that understands. You can tell me where Artie's hidden.
No, can't do that. Okay, so yeah, I think that, yeah, it definitely makes sense that Marianne would probably not need much convincing.
No, yeah, also my life was boring.
Especially if you were talking to creatures of whimsy before. This is just the latest creature of whimsy. But also other people believe it, so maybe that makes it more real to you.
Look, we have a lot of bread mold in my time still, so it's tough to tell what's real. Being honest. Refrigerators sound great. Every time you guys mention them, that sounds really, really keen. We have to put it underground and hope it keeps. So,
Hope you like room temp milk.
All right. So then, yeah, let's kick it back to Andy. Then, do you think that a young Victorian girl with a talking cat would have helped or hurt?
Well, probably helped, but sorry, I was just trying to. Zach from Power Rangers. Zach, Jason, and Trini left because they went to a World Peace Conference, I think, which they were almost certainly dead. Like just no. Zordon messed up. Like, yes, they're going to the World Peace Conference. What?
they're upstate with plenty of other Power Rangers to play with.
Anyway, sorry. So, but
We're all crammed in one lion samurai monster that just transformed wrong and.
So yeah, I'm trying to think, because if I'm in an abandoned library, if it's just some spooky Victorian girl shows up like out of a shadow, I'm like, oh my god, it's a fucking ghost. So I'm wondering if maybe like I hear the cat and I'm like, oh, a cat, and then the cat again leads me to a secondary location where Marianne is just like, and welcome to this magic library, and I'm like, rad, and I did a kickflip. Gonna have to start doing some heel flips, or else these people aren't going to be very interested in me anymore.
That's not what banisters are for.
Just soaping them. That's dangerous. We need those for our hands. So yeah, if Marianne's cool with it, I think I followed Dimitri to a secondary location, and then Marianne gives me the whole spiel. Welcome to a world
of imagination.
Your imagination.
Now, Marianne,
Cool.
would you introduce yourself as the leader from the get-go, I think?
Oof. I think, depending, we've got some open questions with Sid yet, but I think to wrong foot myself with Evelyn, I think yes. By the time I either overcompensated with Evelyn first and got it right with Sid, or vice versa, where Sid was naturally like, yeah, I'll join whatever club. I got time sometimes on Wednesday nights, like between the Mets game. So I think to set up that the blue-red dichotomy, I probably just came in pretty heavy-handed or pretty full of myself for the first time. I didn't realize she had her headphones still in. That I'm trying to girl boss the way that I think it's supposed to be. And yeah, Sid is just less affected by it because Sid is also non-threatening. Sid's good. Sid's on board. I know I can count on Sid.
So then, yeah, Sid, how did Dimitri approach you? Did you just also follow this cat to a second location?
I was trying to think. I think Sid would have seen something wrong and jumped in. Like maybe Dimitri was trying to collect a book or something and was attacked, and Sid sort of jumped in to rescue the poor kitty that was in trouble.
Aww.
Yep.
And then, surprise, it could talk and wanted to give you another job.
Talk and fight book crimes.
Oh, boy, howdy.
So do you think that one of the other junior librarians has been involved in kind of helping to convince you once you followed this cat back to the library, or are you just up for it no matter what?
I think maybe if you want to make this a little extra crispy, I was thinking instead of having Marianne or Ev do it, maybe it was one of Marianne's old team.
Oh.
So it's like, oh, I have met like another librarian, but they kind of either disappeared or was like, or at least Sid thinks they were like promoted because they're like, we're junior librarians, so there's a ladder here.
There has to be a senior librarian somewhere.
Absolutely.
Okay, interesting. All right. So maybe one of the former librarians. So then, do you think that Sid has been around longer than Evelyn then?
I'm sort of guessing in the terms of like time and space isn't really all that, consistent. That Sid was maybe he came like a few months before Ev showed up. So he has a bit of experience, but he sort of knows what's going on.
Okay. So Eva's kind of our newest member of the group. Are you okay with that, Andy?
Oh, yeah. It sounds good to me.
All right.
Newest and best. That's what we're saying. Right?
Sure.
I'm going to make such good friends. I've never had any before. I wonder why.
All right. So then that brings us to our last backstory question, which is, how do each of you feel about being a junior librarian, and do you feel worthy of your position? So let's start with Andy, unless you're going to juke it off on Marty again.
No, I promise I will only do that once or twice. Yes, of course I love it. I'm a superhero. It's super rad.
Yeah.
Like most aloof people. What am I talking about? Like many people, like many teenagers, she is also full of self-doubt, but will never let that show. So, because if she just pretends to know what she's doing, then everyone will just think she knows what she's doing. But yeah, no, for the most part, absolutely loves it. I do belong here. This is great. And these people are legitimately my friends. Even if Marianne comes on a little strong sometimes. You know what I mean, Sid? Elbow.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Then, Marianne, how do you feel being a librarian?
It is the best and proudest thing I've ever done and been a part of. And also, absolutely, I am not worthy of being. I'm not worthy of being the red. That's for sure. Yellow, I felt very comfortable with. I had to show up, be cute and whimsical. That was very nice. I'd occasionally fall down holes or get stuck halfway in tree houses. That was my lane. Now I'm responsible for bringing these young people home alive.
Oh no. It's secretly about war.
These pages will kill you. They'll tear you apart.
No, it's a
That
metaphor.
one looks like an origami conquistador. You think this is a game?
Can't we just set him on fire?
Oh, okay. And then, Liz, same question. How does Sid feel about being a junior librarian? And do you feel worthy of your position?
100%. Sid feels worthy. He's just like, oh yeah, it's pretty cool. It's meaty. Peachy keen.
How does it rank on Sid's list of jobs that he has to do?
He would say probably like top 3. The first being
Not even number 1. Top 3.
We're in good company, Marianne.
It's under collecting tin, but right above collecting yesterday's lemons from restaurants to make his lemonade stand on Thursday.
He was thinking more like the newsstand would probably be number 1 because he gets to sit there when it's like slow and read comics.
Yeah, that's true.
That does sound pretty cool.
Yeah, we're beat. We're beat by that.
Can we do that?
No.
In a library? No.
Quit asking.
Fine.
Now, excuse me while I, Dimitri the cat, go and lay on a book in the sun. Don't worry about it.
Can I do that? No, I can't sun myself, or else my pale complexion will become too dark. Or I'll lose my... Just so pale. Girls have never seen the sun.
So pale.
Okay. All right. So then next is establishing some relationship. So I left you all space so that if you want to fill out like either cooperative or competitive for each of the NPCs, that you can do that. Also, if you have any other kind of impressions or feelings about any of those NPCs, feel free to fill it out that way also. Because I know cooperative and competitive doesn't super tell a whole lot about how you necessarily have a relationship with this person.
I think it's good and vague, like vague in a good way. Because I do like that it's competitive, not antagonistic.
Yes,
you can be competitive with someone and still be their friend.
Mm-hmm. Totally. So yeah, then I also had some deeper, quote unquote, deeper relationship questions for each of you. And as I told you all in the back chat, the idea is, so I have 3 questions for each of you. And so the idea is that at least one, but hopefully 2 of them will be about your fellow players. And then the last one could be filled in with an NPC. So, but feel free to kind of like change these up. Like I said, I mostly these from masks. I tried to find archetypes that were similar to what you had talked to me about with your character in the last stream or in back chats, and kind of match it to questions that I thought were appropriate for your character. But if you feel like, hey, that question doesn't really fit my character, then we can totally work on that together. Let's go ahead and start with Andy again. So the questions that I had for you, for your character are, you have a secret that you are ashamed about. You told blank about it, or they found out about it, and you asked for their confidence. Question 2 was, you secretly admire blank. In what way? So is it like you respect them, you have a crush on them, you admire their skills, something like that? Why and how does it affect you? And then you view blank as being crucial to the team and feel a need to protect them.
Okay. So I'm going to go bottom to top.
Okay.
I think I view Sid as being crucial to the team as the heart. Mm-hmm. And for sure, as even though they are like, because he's competent. Like I don't want it to be like, I don't think he can take care of himself. At the same time, he's the littlest probably. So it's scary when, even a superpower magical boy gets thrown across a room. Like he's just younger than all of us, so I just worry about him. But so I think that's kind of where that's at. Okay. I secretly admire Marianne. I mean, I feel like that has to be the answer, like in a good way.
Yeah.
It's all of this competitive because whereas your competitiveness comes from you feel like you are being inadequate to the memory of your team. I feel like I am being inadequate to you. Like that is all it is. It's I am here
as is good and right
to prove that I belong here.
Yeah.
Dimitri wasn't wrong.
Kickflips are valuable to literature.
Obviously, every detective would have been better with a skateboard.
Teach him nail polish.
And then I think I don't know what my secret is, but I'm torn either for telling the secret to either Dimitri or incognito formalware. And I kind of think it's incognito formalware.
Oh, I think it's incognito formalware for sure.
Again, I don't know what that secret is, but also probably have a crush on him. Shut up.
No, you shut up.
You shut up. He's not even that handsome. How's my hair?
You are drawing an awful lot of purple roses lately.
What are you talking about?
The purple roses you're drawing? I just said it.
She's just got a composition notebook filled with evil and formal wear.
I was about to say incognito Ignatius.
There you go.
I'm a modern girl. He can take my last name.
That's right. That's right. Doing great.
The old ig.
That's right.
Okay. Well, yeah. If you want to think of a secret that you think Ev would be ashamed about that somehow incognito formalware would find out about, then yeah, we can back chat about that.
Okay.
So then your fellow players won't know your secret.
My deep dark secret. Guys, I can't do a kickflip.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
I lied about that.
All right. So then let's move on to Marianne. The questions that I came up with for you are, you hang out all the time with blank and let off steam either to or with them. Why them and what do you do together? You once hurt blank when you lost control of your powers. And then blank confronted you at your lowest point. What happened?
Comforted.
Or comforted you. Sorry, not confronted. Comforted.
Yeah. Because that changes that question.
What the hell's your problem? Why are you so sad?
You lost your whole previous team? Them again? All right.
Get over it.
God, you and your problems, am I right?
See, yeah. Can I get a little bit more on Teo and Tia here? Because I'm just kind of picturing the BioShock Infinite twins showing up and being like weird.
So they are, what I've imagined them as is basically, they are high school seniors. They're working at some kind of school adjacent library. They mostly just kind of like show up and handsomely do their job for a bit. They talk with you. They're always very friendly. They give off big senior charisma energy, and are genuinely just very helpful around the library.
Because my initial answer, like my first thought, is you hang out with all the time. I want that to kind of be one of the NPCs of like it's Dimitri because it's the only one who I still feel this longer term connection with.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just kind of checking like would Teo and Tia kind of check off that box, even if I just followed them around and complained about my problems to them, and they're just kind of like great, cool, great, cool.
I mean, they would probably be like ecstatic to help you because they're just those kind of people, you know.
Sure.
And yeah, they've been around the library as long as you've been around.
Okay. So then, yeah, because my other thought is, because then Sid comforted me at my lowest point seems very in line with Sid and Sid's role. I mean, yellow as the heart. But yeah, like I had thought of like it would be pretty funny if this Victorian girl like sneaks out for Mets games or something like that, and we hang out with Sid a lot. But I do think Sid's too busy, so let's kind of lean into that. That I think let's do. How aloof do you want Dimitri? Like as confidant and my only friend here. Would you rather that be Teo and Tia as just kind of like, yeah, that gives them something to do, or me bothering this cat that wants to sleep in sunbeams? Which is more comedically viable to you, Soup?
I think that probably the more ripe NPCs for that role would be either Teo or Tia or both.
All right, let's.
I think that if you were letting off steam adjacent to Dimitri, it would be you doing it to him rather than him like necessarily helping you. So if that's a vibe that you want to go for, I'm here for it. But if you want actual help, like, or comforting words, it would probably be from a Teo or Tia direction.
All right, let's do Tia because it's still a scandal to admit that I have legs to Tio. So, let's see. I do like Sid makes sense that it comforted me at my lowest point, but there's also something kind of great about Evelyn comforted me at my lowest point and may not know it. Like by getting it or just repeating the lesson of the episode, like at the end, it's just kind of like, oh my god, she got it. Like, yeah, that was it. Teamwork was the thing. But then that leads me to hurt Sid when I lost control of my powers once, and that feels shitty. Unless I want to load this up with NPCs, because I also thought I once hurt Incognito Frankenstein over there.
Well, or you could also have that be maybe you hurt one of your past team members in the past.
Yeah, but I think the exercise is to connect to your fellow
That's
PCs.
true.
So I'd love to buck expectation a little bit because I hope it's clear that that's a lane of mine. But I think I'm going to go with the more apparent because again we're on a show where they're trying to pass off Kyoto as pre-Depression New York. So let's say that Sid comforted me at my lowest point, and I once hurt Evelyn when I lost control of my powers, and probably blamed Evelyn somehow because just in that moment of pride that I couldn't admit that I did it wrong. It was that Evelyn was in the wrong spot because my old team used to work as a unit, and like I knew when I was doing my magical whip transformation that, you know, librarian green and blue would be out of my way. And here you are being like, kickflip, I solved the mystery. And then
I kind of love the idea that it would be during your magical girl transformation that I got hurt.
I step into frame.
You're like spinning and you smack me in the head. Ow!
Just get hit by a top hat and a monocle.
Why did you fold yourself in half?
Who's everybody in waistcoats in yours? So yeah. We'll as is the follow up to this exercise is usually the when and how of it. But yeah, I think let's just lean into theme because again this is officially a kids program, so it doesn't get that complicated. So yes, I once hurt Evelyn, and Sid comforted me by just being Sid, by just being an inexhaustible supply of good.
All right, awesome. So then, moving to Sid, the relationship questions I had for Sid were, Blink is teaching you more about the time, place they're from. How has this helped you grow closer and earn their trust? So very Captain America-y. Blink is awesome, and you take every chance you get to hang out with them. And then the last one is you've got to prove yourself to Blink before you feel like a real hero.
I was thinking about this. I figure Evelyn would be the one to teach Sin about the time and place they're from. Because like it is a very Captain America thing where it's like, oh wow, you guys don't boil your food anymore?
Now we deep fry everything now. It's great.
Oh.
It's a different kind of boiling.
It is.
Turns out if you
Everyone
boil
has
it
a
in
refrigerator.
Somewhere Sid just has Trouble Man soundtrack written down.
Star Wars, question mark. Star Trek, question mark.
And then write that down. And I guess the other one would be I guess I would say Marianne is awesome, and you take every chance to hang out with them.
Okay.
I'm with the Allied powers. Don't worry about it.
Fighting the Germans again?
So then, who do you feel that you've got to prove yourself to before you can feel like a real hero?
Maybe we can leave that for whatever. If we ever decide to like, maybe we'll leave that as the person who recruited him in the first place, like the Marianne's old team member. Because as far as Sid knows, they're probably not dead.
Hopefully.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. They're probably not dead.
Yeah, and I mean, what are your other options? Incognito formalware? He didn't do anything.
Tia or Tia, but I don't think they're pretty helpful. They seem pretty chill. And Dimitri's a cat, so who cares about what he thinks?
He's gonna like you or he's not. He's a cat.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Sid stopped trying to impress cats when he was 8.
Lesson learned.
Oh.
This show's great.
It's definitely going to get another season.
Start selling these toys, guys.
We suddenly can't move Dimitri toys. We're not sure.
So all the sad Dimitris.
Okay, great. This gives me a much better idea of who your characters are and kind of what their relationship is to one another. Is there kind of anything else that we wanted to talk through? Well, we've got a little bit of time. Did we want to maybe figure out this mysterious previous team, or is there anything else that you all felt like you wanted to hash out?
Costumes and transformations.
Oh yeah,
Costumes and transformations.
That I mean, also the former team, but if you and Marty and Liz just want to kind of figure that out, and then I don't know anything about it, that's fine too. And then I'll say something totally insensitive and everyone will be like,
yikes.
"How too soon."
I love the idea that Sid is like, they're fine. I was told they joined a circus, and I believe things I'm told.
Why would you lie? Circuses
They're all
are fun. We still have those.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what costumes do you want? What would your costumes look like, do you think? Are they going to be all kind of similar, all have just a similar element, but look, for the most part, pretty different? What are you guys thinking?
Every time I imagine this, and I've imagined it quite a lot from our last session 0, by the way. But we'll be in otherwise civilian garb, and we'll pull out a stamp and grab whatever nearest genre book fits, and kind of stamp it out, right? Because we're librarians, so we're checking it out, and that will kind of kickstart the transformation. But it also might lend us the ability to summon kind of different aspects if we wanted to play into that, of just kind of I could summon Alice, or Wendy Darling, or even Peter Pan or whatever. Evelyn could summon Sherlock Holmes or Poirot or Nancy Drew or what have you.
Yeah, they're all great in a fist fight.
Yeah, but I still if you're not in a deer hunter's cap, I don't know what we're doing on the show.
I mean, that's in my what I wrote down as my possible outfit.
Yeah,
but
whatever that shoulder cape is that Man-Bat wears. Man-Bats and Sherlock Holmeses. Those are the only people who own them. But yeah, so we stamp out a book, we magically transform. I have there's a very canonized image of Alice in general that I feel like I probably fall into. It's a lot of petticoats and layered skirts, which all very much fits into the magical girl genre. Really, I'm not pushing the genre boundaries. Whatever you guys do is up to you, but I am really in line with a lot of the magical girl transformations I watched just before this stream, which was a lot. It was a 20-minute supercut, and I was confused by a lot of it.
As well you should be.
As well I should be. But yes, I would like, and whatever we end up calling ourselves, Junior Librarian, Red Alice, or whatever I could be, but like, stamp a book, twirl around, and yes, I will probably look very much like a very traditional Alice, little pocket in my frock and skirts, long socks, and all that.
Yeah, what did I write down? So yeah, I was thinking. So because I do want us to match in some capacity, some kind of element. But what I wrote for my first draft was long blue anime trench coat, blue deerstalker cap, basically like a vest, tie, and shirt, and then knickerbottom pants, and then blue socks, and then checkerboard sneakers, just kind of as like a continuation of like pop punky kind of aesthetic. And then a staff with a magnifying glass. I don't know if I'm allowed to have a staff, but I would like a staff with a magnifying glass.
If I have to fight soup, you are going to have a magnifying staff, as far as I'm concerned.
How would you even use it?
It's like a card captor Sakura staff. I don't know. He's swinging around.
Yeah, but as a magnifying glass, then it's...
Oh yeah, you gotta kind of hold it. It's for aesthetics.
It's for aesthetics. It doesn't do anything.
It could be like Robin's staff that like you can like collapse or
yeah,
or collapse
staff of raw
into
energy
an actual usable magnifying glass.
Even better, he pulls out a separate magnifying glass for that.
Where'd it go? I have a magnifying glass. Where is it?
Even four. Fantastic.
I mean, I feel like now you have to have a staff with magnifying glass.
That's all I wanted. I have a magnifying glass. I don't see it. Well, that's annoying. I'm going to have to find that before our episode.
I feel like I need some sort of staff or object, but we'll get there.
But I did kind of want to ask, what powers do we, what powers do we have? Is it just what's in the book, or do we have, generic super strength, speed, and magnifying glass I can use as a laser?
To solve riddles and mysteries. I believe that your powers are just supposed to be all of those moves that you have a cheat sheet on. In addition to your moves that are granted by your magical archetype and whatnot.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Because then you can get more of them as you level up, I found out.
You get more blippies.
Yeah, you get
more blippies.
You get to pick more blippies. More you level up.
But yeah, I'm certain if we're thrown into a wall, we're fine.
Yeah.
It'll just be one of those randomly. So are they super strong or not? Sid pushed a wall down on somebody, right? Yeah, and then the next time he's having trouble opening a soda for the comedy bit? Okay. Okay. Your physics doesn't make sense, but okay.
I mean, to be fair, that soda was a pop top and not
right.
a little
And tin pop tops were harder. That old trope of crushing a can in your hand used to be an impressive feat of strength. Now it's anyone could do it. A child could do it. Don't worry about it. But there did used to be some evidence of, oh, that guy's strong because he crushed that can.
But yeah, I think you guys are supposed to be just generally magical.
Super.
Yeah. And yeah, like kind of going off of Marty's idea, I wasn't necessarily your power set as like physically manifesting like any of these characters or anything like that. The way that my brain was imagining it was that like almost like these ghostly avatars would kind of like go like wash over you or whatever, and you would gain like the intelligence of Sherlock Holmes for doing your move or whatever.
Very
100%.
very
Yeah.
Shazam-y,
When we
yeah.
need to summon our inspirations, it's very much. They show up like stands or whatever.
It's a very cool animation shot.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Oh man. I've had a lot of images of this over the last month or so.
So yeah, so Sid, what about your kind of uniform, I guess?
I think it would just be his regular clothes, but themed yellow.
Yeah, I mean,
Just spins around a lot in space or whatever, and then he's wearing the same thing. It's just more sepia toned, yellow.
I think he already wears like he has one shirt. He wears it all the time, except on laundry day where he has to take it off and he has his undershirt on. He has his trousers, and I think maybe he like gets like a yellow Tintin sweater, and that's it.
I was gonna say a mask. It's even more ridiculous. Like, you're not hiding. You're just you.
so wait. If I'm to understand this correctly, Sid is wearing his own clothes. Marianne is basically wearing a real outfit. And I have some anime-ass trench coat, a giant staff, a deer stalker.
Is that a question?
I am just confirming that this is what's happening. I'm down.
I think that's very funny. Because you are, like, especially because in a, like, even to follow that down a rabbit hole, it's my thing, is the idea that like, you are personifying yourself, so to speak. So, like, you do this full, like, you've watched magical girl cartoons and you're like, either Sid or I have. So Sid literally just becomes Sid in a vest. And I become, this weirdly idealized, Edwardian schoolgirl. And you become card captor Sakura. Bro, it's like, well, that's a bit much, isn't it?
I especially like the idea that the first time we transform, like it's, it happens, and then I just like appear, sparkles and everything, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, really, everybody? This is what you pick.
This.
Lean into it. Oh my gosh.
I have extra bows in my hair. I said that.
Whew.
Oh my god.
So to answer your question, yes, Andrew, that is what just happened.
Okay. Just wanted to check.
That's part of the universe now.
Marianne has like a couple extra ruffles in her petticoat. Like, come on.
And I was just wondering, what could I have that's comparable to a staff? But of course, I could and should have a parasol. I have a magical umbrella.
There you go.
There you go.
I mean, Sid's move is that I get a weapon.
There you go.
Okay, what do you pull out of your newspaper sack?
A gun.
I think
And I have a gun. Oh, whoa!
I was thinking a stickball stick. You guys took it way out.
that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I think a stickball stick.
Yeah. It's the thing I pretend is a baseball bat. Hey, you couldn't pretend it's a sword? No, it's a baseball bat. No one I look up to uses swords.
It could literally be a baseball bat, but instead...
Oh my god, the less it transforms, the better to me. Every step of this has been better than the previous step. The gentle humbleness of Sid.
Oh my gosh. Mostly, somewhat related question. What's everyone's hair color? Because mine's blue, because it's dyed. But you both could have natural hair colors that match your colors. I can't. But I'm cool, so
I have preconceived notions of a character named Marianne, so I do think I am brunette to oppose Alice's traditionally blonde hair. That's my guess. But when I transform, it would be funny if I'm blonde now.
Oh, I was thinking you could be a redhead because you are the
red sure.
character.
No, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
And I used to be blonde. that confuses me. Obviously, Andrew, that makes way more sense than my dumb idea. So, yes, I will be a redhead now, but I am naturally just a brunette.
If you wanted to be a brunette, then maybe you could have, like, that reddish brunette where it, like, more of, like, Sheen's red.
Yeah, or it becomes redder. Like, it just gets, like, a streak in it.
Yeah.
When you transform.
Certainly my ribbons and my central frock colors will now be red.
I think Sid would just have like a blonde mop top. You think it's blonde? It's been a while since he's kind of washed it. Saving water for the troops.
That's right. We're rationing water for the troops.
Yep. And victory gardens. Troops and victory gardens.
Yep.
All right. So then, did you guys want to talk through more of your transfer? I think last time we had kind of established that maybe you would reveal them on stream.
That's right.
We can definitely do that.
Yeah, I think we can have, because I think we have to. Do we each get our own individual transformation, or after the initial transformation, do we have a group transformation? Where we're all kind of, it's assuming that we're all getting an individual transformation, but it's kind of super cutting between them. Mm-hmm. Or, one of the flaws of our transformations could be that it takes a long time, and we actually all get a minute and a half to do whatever dance routine, several genre references will kind of zodiac behind us, A
million arms rip us apart for some reason.
It makes sense in the anime.
It does.
I'm sure
I can't wait to find out. I'm very intrigued.
I didn't even get all the way through that. I need to watch the rest of that before.
If you watch the Million Arms Rip You Apart, you've seen what to me was the weirdest of the images, but it keeps going.
Yeah, because the first girl snaps in half, and I didn't get that one either. So,
but the thing I did like about it specifically was that they don't transform. One of them like runs into a mirror and blows up into dust, and then they show up on the other side in like an outfit. It's like, okay, I guess
it's a thing.
It's a thing. They snap themselves in half or rip their faces open, and now they're a witch girl, I hope.
Don't worry about it. It's probably fine.
I'm exclusively worried about it. This is my distraction from worrying about it. I am leaving the stream and not sleeping tonight.
Oh, yeah, don't watch that right before, probably.
Whew. Yeah. And if everybody at home wants to know what we're talking about, just watch Puella, what's it called? Puella Magica.
Puella Madoka Magica.
Yeah.
The transformation highlight reel or whatever it was.
That's all I've seen.
And I only saw a minute and a half of it. And already I have several questions.
I have been forbade about it.
Just, it's hard to describe it. It's really better to just experience it.
Hold on.
It's on HBO Max if you guys want to watch.
Oh, is it?
Oh, is it?
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've got Crunchyroll somewhere around here, so
Yeah.
but that's a good venue for it.
I guess they made a deal with Crunchyroll because a lot of Crunchyroll stuff is
Okay.
up on HBO Max now, dubbed, I think.
Well,
Here we go. Hold on, I have to spell it for chat.
I do recommend the subs. That's the only way I've seen it. Which I assume would be available on Crunchyroll.
Probably.
Yeah, sometimes they only have subs. I tried to watch.
That's a lot of my experience with it. Because sorry to distract with this otherwise anecdote, but Lil is super into Haikyuu, and if she put it on Crunchyroll, it was all subs. But then she would put it on Netflix because it was dubs, and she could do something else because she could also hear it. So
yeah,
whenever she was like, "Oh, these episodes aren't up yet," so I'm back to Crunchyroll, and she had to sit and watch it.
Yeah, because I wanted to watch.
Kids these days is a kind of torture.
Oh, terrible. Yeah, I wanted
Only
to
do one thing for an hour.
That does sound bad. Yeah, I wanted to watch the original Godzilla at work the other day, and it's only in Japanese on HBO, which is fine. I will watch, but I can't do that while I'm working.
Just gonna learn Japanese. And then,
it's so simple.
Just to take a quick 5-level dip into Japanese.
Okay. So yeah, it looks like we're kind of running out of time, so we can back chat about possible past junior librarian teams, and then you all can reveal your magical transformations on screen. And if we want to talk through that beforehand, of course we can do that in the back chats also. So yeah.
Yeah, I will reach out to you individually or openly in the back chat because mine both has open questions of how did I hurt you, Evelyn, and when did you come for me, Sid? But it could have been quietly both times because, Sid, you could have just been inspiring by your presence. But there's room there to tag on if you have any ideas, and I am open to ideas. But yeah, I am more insanely excited, and my sheets are all filled out now, which was the design of this second episode. And we used the whole time, which I was a little worried about in the middle. I'm like, oh, we're really trucking. But no, I think it was a good use and a lot of laughs. And I am very much looking forward to this being the only game we play on this stream from now on.
We did do one episode of Bubblegum Show. A game we have previously played.
We had already played.
Don't worry about it.
This show is working as intended, if that happens, by the way. As I have envisioned it. Like, it's to find new games we like. Okay, cool.
All right. So, yeah. So, I guess we can move to outros and plugs then. Let's go for Andy first.
I usually go last. This is still weird. Let's see. Give us a like and a subscribe, please. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, check out Glitter Hearts. And schedule. What's our schedule? Wednesday is Star Chasers with a very special guest.
Who could it be?
Scare it. I've been talking to him about some stuff. It's gonna be fun. Monday we're off because it's Memorial Day. And then next Wednesday, Task Force Unlikely will return with Honor Part 1. We had to skip a week, but we will be back soon. Yes.
All right. Then let's kick it over to Marty.
Hey there. Do you like magical girls? Of course you do. We all do. So you should like, subscribe, click a bell. However you're watching this, you should make sure that you can watch more of it. And put it on your calendars and come back. We will be back probably in anywhere between as few as 2 weeks and as many as 4 weeks to full-on rev the motor on this baby. I've never been more prepared. And yeah, this is ridiculous, and I hope you can see a bunch of people genuinely having fun, and I always find that fun, so I hope you're finding that fun click like, subscribe, ding bells, etc. Leave a comment. Tell us how you would magically transform into a librarian.
Okay.
All right, great. And then Liz.
Hi, I'm Liz. I will get a little real and plug vaccines. My character might be from the 40s, but I think his best thing is that if there's a little shot you get, to make sure you never get sick again, you can totally do that. So go do that.
Yes, go get your polio vaccine for the war effort.
Don't let our boys down.
That's
You
right.
probably got to
Polio.
take like vaccines via sugar cube though, so yeah. They should bring that back.
And get your kids vaccinated, because we actually went for our first second generation dose today, so
Woo!
very good. Excited about it.
All right. I guess it's my turn. I'm the one closing it now. This feels weird. I've been Soup, aka CC, aka SoupsCon, Twitters, and the Instagrams. I would like to plug having a good magical girl fun time. And also you should check out Glitter Hearts, which is the game that we are going to be playing. Because it's given us a vehicle to a good time so far, and I can't wait to actually play it with y'all and see how that goes. So,
And not to put you on the spot, but created by or distributed by whom?
Greg Leatherman, I think.
yeah,
Greg Leatherman sounds right to me.
Yeah.
That's true.
On the Itch.io site.
yeah,
Yes.
that one very itchy site that
Yes.
no one can agree on how to pronounce.
I think we just all agreed it was Itch.io. Teamwork, Evelyn. Learn it.
You hurt me once.
So have a great night, everyone.
Bye. I have to turn it off. What am I doing?